Like,
Okay,
create the
let's go
rainbow.
matchup.
They
Let's
really
go matchup to matchup. Okay, so obviously what the people want to see is Caitlyn versus Paige. We're gonna do this. Who wins the matchup between Caitlyn and Paige? I already know what you're gonna say.
my girl Caitlyn. What?
Okay.
The Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers topic was just discussed on Candace Parker and Aliyah Boston's podcast, and their responses are completely appending the basketball world. These Twitter arguments aren't just made up. These WNBA winners are sharing their candid thoughts on who would win a matchup. Additionally, you might be surprised by what they stated. Tell me in the comments, Team Caitlin or Team Paige, before we go into detail about what Candace and Aliyah said and why it's causing so much uproar. Because you might reconsider your response after learning what real WNBA players have to say about this contest.
I can't even lie though. Hear me out. I low-key think 2024 would win that.
They definitely have
Like,
more shooting on 2024.
Okay, so in a recent episode of their podcast, Candace Parker and Aliyah Boston discussed the controversy that has dominated basketball discussions for months. Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark. Furthermore, they didn't merely bring it up in passing. They went into great detail, dissecting matchups, contrasting skill sets, and candidly predicting the winner of a real game. And believe me when I say that the entire basketball community is reacting to their opinions.
WNBA post about 2024 versus 2025 all rookie teams. Who wins a game to 21? Why is it 21? Can't it just be who wins a game?
no.
Why's it gotta be 21?
21 because people played at 21. That's what they.
21 is like not 5-on-5. 21 is like, yo, check up. We got 3 people. You never play
You
jackpot.
play. Yeah, but
Come on, man.
you can't just play to 21. Like, what's the problem
No,
with
I
21?
want a full game.
Hmm.
And we're going to go down the list. This is kind of tough. I'm not going to lie. Kaylin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cordoza, Rakia Jackson, Phoebus versus 2025, which is Paige Bueckers, Sonia Citron, Kiki Irifan, Dominique Malonga, and Janelle Salon.
A straightforward question posed in a WNBA social media post served as the catalyst for this conversation. A game to 21 pits the 2024 rookie class against the 2025 rookie class. Who prevails? Aliyah was instantly upset with the format and questioned why 21 was required rather than a whole game. Aliyah wasn't having it with Candace's explanation that it's because people play pickup games till they're 21. To truly observe how things would unfold, she desired a whole game.
She has a point, to be honest.
21 points is insufficient to demonstrate how coaching changes affect the flow, how weariness affects performance, or how rotations function. This is where it gets fascinating, though, so let's take a look at the actual rosters they were comparing. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, Rakia Jackson, and a 5th player were all members of the 2024 rookie class. Paige Bueckers, Sonia Citron, Kiki Irian, Dominique Malona, and Janelle Estio were all members of the 2025 rookie class. Although both teams have a lot of talent on paper, the dynamics are very different, which is why this debate was so interesting. Candace noted right away that there will be more shooting in the 2024 class. That is an indisputable benefit. Perhaps the greatest shooter in women's basketball is Caitlin Clark. She has an infinite range. She is really skilled at creating her own shots. And having someone like that on your squad fundamentally alters the way defenses must function. They are unable to relax. They are unable to assist as forcefully. In order for everyone else to have access to everything else, they must respect the three-point line.
Like,
Okay, let's go matchup.
They
Let's
really-
go matchup to matchup. Okay, so obviously what the people want to see is Caitlyn versus Paige. We're gonna do this. Who wins the matchup between Caitlyn and Paige? I already know what you're gonna say.
my girl Caitlyn. What?
Okay.
The real argument, however, began when they began dissecting the individual matches. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers is the match that everyone wants to witness, the one that would sell out arenas and set new marks for television viewership. Perhaps the 2 most gifted guards to graduate from college basketball in the past 10 years are these 2. Both have a history of winning championships. Both have sizable fan bases. Both have the ability to win games. Who wins the matchup then? Without hesitation, Aliyah Boston took action. My girl Caitlin, she said. That's important for a number of reasons. Aliyah and Caitlin play for the Indiana Fever first. She has direct knowledge of Caitlin's professional abilities. She is aware of Caitlin's preparedness, work ethic, and capacity for high-pressure performance. Thus, this goes beyond simple fandom. This is a teammate endorsing a competitor with whom she faces daily. Second, Aliyah is among the WNBA's most intelligent players. She is not responding favorably to clicks. She is making an educated judgment based on her genuine understanding of both players' games when she states that Caitlin would win that clash. Candace's response was intriguing because, although it was obvious that she anticipated Aliyah to say Caitlin, she didn't necessarily disagree, which is noteworthy. A player of Hall of Fame status, Candace Parker has witnessed every kind of talent the WNBA has produced in the last 20 years. The fact that she isn't strongly disputing the notion that Caitlin outperforms Paige in a head-to-head match speaks to something about the validity of that assessment. But for a moment, let's be honest. There is more to the Caitlin versus Paige controversy than just basketball. It concerns fan bases, media attention, narratives, and women's basketball's future. These two athletes stand for many routes to achievement.
You see Chan and Rakia. We'll do Rakia. Sonia Citron and Rakia.
I still think Rakia can win that. You think Sonia's gonna win that?
That is more of like a coin toss, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Skill set wise, they actually play very similar, but
Yeah.
I do think system wise it's different. So we're seeing different skill sets
True.
because Rakia doesn't play in Sonia's system and Sonia doesn't play in Rakia's system.
The real argument, however, began when they began dissecting the individual matches. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers is the match that everyone wants to witness, the one that would sell out arenas and set new marks for television viewership. Perhaps the two most gifted guards to graduate from college basketball in the past 10 years are these two. Both have a history of winning championships. Both have sizable fan bases. Both have the ability to win games. Who wins the matchup then? Without hesitation, Aliyah Boston took action. "My girl Caitlin," she said. "That's important for a number of reasons." Aliyah and Caitlin play for the Indiana Fever first. She has direct knowledge of Caitlin's professional abilities. She is aware of Caitlin's preparedness, work ethic, and capacity for high-pressure performance. Thus, this goes beyond simple fandom. This is a teammate endorsing a competitor with whom she faces daily. Second, Aliyah is among the WNBA's most intelligent players. She is not responding favorably to clicks. She is making an educated judgment based on her genuine understanding of both players' games when she states that Caitlin would win that clash. Candace's response was intriguing because, although it was obvious that she anticipated Aliyah to say Caitlin, she didn't necessarily disagree, which is noteworthy. A player of Hall of Fame status, Candace Parker has witnessed every kind of talent the WNBA has produced in the last 20 years. The fact that she isn't strongly disputing the notion that Caitlin outperforms Paige in a head-to-head match speaks to something about the validity of that assessment. But for a moment, let's be honest. There is more to the Caitlin versus Paige controversy than just basketball. It concerns fan bases, media attention, narratives, and women's basketball's future. These two athletes stand for many routes to achievement. Before becoming pro, Caitlin became the most accomplished collegiate player in history by staying in school for 4 years and painstakingly developing her skills. Despite dealing with injuries and having her schedule thrown off, Paige continued to be one of the best players in the game. Both strategies are legitimate. Both athletes are amazing. However, the topic of who is superior in a head-to-head match will always elicit strong reactions.
Angel and Kiki.
Let me tell you, that would be one.
Right?
That would really be one heck of a
That's what I said. 21 isn't enough.
You're right. We probably should do a full.
That's what I said. We should do a full game. What's 21? 21.
Then they moved on to the next matchup, Sonia Citron versus Rakia Jackson. Candace said that one's more of a coin toss, and Aliyah agreed. Both players have similar skill sets. Both are versatile wings who can score, defend, and impact winning in multiple ways. But Candace made an interesting point about systems. She noted that we're seeing different skill sets because Rakia doesn't play in Sonia's system and Sonia doesn't play in Rakia's system. That's actually a really sophisticated way to think about player evaluation. Because here's the thing, how good a player looks is partially dependent on the system they're playing in. Some systems maximize certain skill sets while minimizing others. Rakia Jackson plays for the Los Angeles Sparks in a system that might not showcase everything she can do. Sonia Setran will play wherever she lands in a system that might be completely different. So comparing them head-to-head requires understanding not just their individual skills, but how those skills would translate in neutral settings or against each other. Then came the Angel Reese versus Kiki Iran matchup. And both Candace and Aliyah agreed that would be one hell of a battle. Aliyah specifically said that would really be one heck of a matchup, and you could hear the genuine respect in her voice because Angel and Kiki both play with incredible physicality, intensity, and motor skills. Neither one backs down. Neither one takes possessions off. That matchup would be all effort, all energy, all the time. And honestly, that might be the most entertaining matchup of the entire hypothetical game. This is where Aliyah brought up her earlier point about 21 not being enough. She said for a matchup like Angel versus Kiki, you need a full game to really see how it plays out. Because in pickup games to 21, things can swing on a few lucky bounces or hot shooting streaks. But over a full 40-minute game, the better player, the smarter player, and the more conditioned player usually win. So reducing this comparison to a quick game to 21 doesn't do justice to the complexity of these matchups. After going through all the individual battles, Candace declared she's going with the 2024 class. She thinks they would win primarily because of the shooting advantage and the overall experience level. But then she made a really interesting comment about Dominique Malona. She said long-term Dominique might be one of the best post players to ever play in the WNBA. That's incredibly high praise from someone who's played with and against the best post players of the last 20 years. What makes Dominique so special, according to Candace, is her combination of size, skill, and basketball IQ. She's not just big, she's skilled. She can pass. She can finish with both hands. She understands positioning and angles. Those are the traits that translate to sustained success at the professional level. So, even though Candace thinks the 2024 class would win right now, she's acknowledging that the 2025 class is players with potentially higher ceilings long-term. Then, the conversation took a fun turn. They compared their own rookie classes. Candace's 2008 class included herself, Sylvia Fowles, Candace Wiggins, Nikki Anoski, and Montia Javan. Aliyah's 2023 class had Diamond Shields, Dorka Yush, Jordan Stahn, and Lee Ueru. Aliyah tried to be diplomatic at first, saying she rides for her squad. But then Candace pressed her, asking if she'd be telling the truth if she said the 2023 class would win. And Aliyah's response was perfect. She said, "I would be lying, and I would hate to get up on this pod and start lying." That's the kind of honesty that makes these conversations valuable. She could have given some corporate answer about how both classes are talented, and it could go either way. But instead, she kept it real. The 2008 class was absolutely stacked. Multiple Hall of Famers, multiple championships, and multiple MVPs. The 2023 class is talent, but they're not on that level yet and might never be. Candace tried to give Aliyah some credit by pointing out that we've seen how the 2008 careers panned out. While the 2023 class is only 2 years in, Jordan Stahn got hurt, so we don't know what she could have become. Diamond Shields has dealt with injuries and trades that disrupted her development. But even with those caveats, the gap between those two classes is pretty obvious to anyone being honest. What's interesting about this entire conversation is how it reveals the way professional players think about talent evaluation. They're not just looking at stats or highlights. They're considering systems, matchups, physical tools, basketball IQ, work ethic, and potential. When Candace and Aliyah debate whether Caitlin beats Paige, they're not just arguing about who scored more points or who has better handles. They're thinking about who would actually win in a competitive setting where both players are fully motivated and prepared. The fact that Aliyah chose Caitlin without hesitation tells us something important. She's not being a homer. She's making an assessment based on playing with Caitlin every single day. She's seen Caitlyn prepare for games. She's seen Caitlyn adjust to defenses. She's seen Caitlyn perform in clutch moments. And based on all of that firsthand experience, she thinks Caitlyn would win that matchup. That carries way more weight than some talking head on television who's never played professional basketball giving their opinion. But what's also important is that this debate exists at all. The fact that we're comparing rookie classes and debating individual matchups shows how healthy women's basketball is right now. These conversations are happening because people care, fans are invested, the media is paying attention, and players themselves are engaging with these debates in thoughtful, entertaining ways. The Caitlyn versus Paige debate specifically has become the defining rivalry of this generation of women's basketball. It's similar to the Bird versus Magic debates that defined the NBA in the 1980s. These aren't just great players. They're cultural figures who represent different styles, different approaches, and different fan bases. And just like Bird versus Magic, this debate will probably never be fully settled because both players have legitimate cases for being the best. What Candace and Aliyah's conversation really highlighted is that there are multiple factors to consider in these matchups. Shooting matters, athleticism matters, basketball IQ matters, system fit matters, chemistry matters, and experience matters. You can't just compare scoring averages and declare a winner. Basketball is too complex for that. And the best evaluators, the people who've played at the highest levels, understand that complexity in ways that casual fans might not fully appreciate. The comment about Dominique Malona potentially being one of the best post players in WNBA history also shows how these players are thinking long-term. They're not just evaluating who's good right now. They're projecting careers. They're identifying traits that typically lead to sustained excellence. And when someone with Candace Parker's resume says a player has that kind of potential, people should pay attention. What's also refreshing about this conversation is the honesty. Aliyah could have played it safe and refused to pick between Caitlyn and Paige. She could have given some diplomatic answer about how they're both great and it depends on the day, but she didn't. She made a choice and stood by it. That's the kind of authentic content that fans crave, but rarely get from professional athletes who are usually coached to avoid controversy. The broader point here is that these debates matter because they generate interest in the sport. When Candace Parker and Aliyah Boston are having these conversations on their podcast, they're creating content that gets shared, discussed, and debated across social media. That drives engagement. That brings new fans to the sport. That increases the visibility of women's basketball. So, even though it's just a hypothetical debate about rookie classes, it's actually serving a larger purpose in growing the game. So, there you have it. Candace Parker and Aliyah Boston weighed in on Caitlyn versus Paige, and Aliyah chose Caitlyn without hesitation. Do you agree with her assessment? Or is Paige still your pick? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe for more women's basketball content. This debate isn't ending anytime soon.